But man, oh man, boy, hey, I'm excited. I got my brother from a different mother, my man Trevor Otts. Let me tell you something right now. Every single year, I talk to this brother right here. He gives me a multiple six-figure idea. Let me tell you something right now. There are some people you're going to cross paths with. There are going to be some people that you're going to have an opportunity to meet that it was a divine calling, like it was intentional. And I remember back in the days, my brother would call me up like, hey, man, look, I need you to jump on this plane. Be like, Trevor, when you need me to get on the plane? Like, next week. Next week, what we doing, Trevor? Hey, man, hey, we gonna be feeding the flock. Well, what time am I speaking? He like, you stay ready. You won't have to get ready. I'd be like, but Trevor, what time am I speaking? I don't know. I might have you speak 3 times. I'll show up. I get there. It's in the green room. When I'm in the room, I'm like, dang, it's hot up in here. Myron Golden up in this joint. Wow. I look over Delatoro up in here. I'm like, whoa, Allison's up in here, Bird's up in here. I'm like, man, this dude right here pulling out the fire. And then everybody just had to be ready, right? Because he was putting on these conferences that were 48-hour conferences. I would get in the room, I would speak at 2:00 in the afternoon, and then I got to be ready. I'll be on my couch, sleeping in the room. At any moment, I might get a tap on the shoulder at 3 a.m. and they say, Andy, you up again. I'd be like, again? Let's go. 3 a.m. I got to throw down. I got to bring the energy. That's the level of commitment. And so when I was trying to figure out like, hey, who am I going to bring in? Who do I know that's the ultimate disruptor? In a world where everybody's doing cookie cutter marketing, in a world where everybody's just trying to go ahead and be like somebody else, there are some people that say, I'm gonna go against the grain. There are some people who make the decision that they're gonna create some things. And so this gentleman has not only had an opportunity to generate millions leveraging his own marketing strategies, but here's the beautiful thing. I have, over the years, watched him as the CEO of Black CEO help so many people to be able to grow and scale their businesses, and giving so many of us non-traditional ways to be able to do it. So my man, Trevor Otts, what's up, Trevor? What's up, my brother?
What's up, Andy? We here again.
Hey, we here in the building, man. Hey, Trevor, man, first of all, I'm so excited, man. I'm so grateful that you are going to be joining us in Fort Lauderdale, man. You know, all the times I think that I've come out to your conferences, your event, it is a pleasure, man, to be able to have you come and grace the stage and to be able to drop the gems. And I appreciate it because I know how busy you are. And I got to just ask you this question, right? Because I look at you like as a disruptor. I look at you as the person who makes a decision that like status quo, you're not into status quo, right? When everybody goes right, you decide to go left, right? If they're going straight, you decide to go the other way. You'll find a way to just sort of break the mold. And for a lot of people, they look at it as crazy until it works, right? They hear it and they're like, it's crazy. So here's what I want to ask you. Like, what was that moment for you where you decided that you were going to diverge from traditional paths of marketing and business and make a decision that you're going to choose yourself and create your own branding ideologies, your own marketing ideologies, because you think so much differently than anybody I know. And I'm curious, what was that moment where you made the decision that you were going to merge away from that and ultimately choose yourself, choose your own brand, your own market, your own everything?
Yeah, honestly, you know, it was 2 pivotal moments. There's this company that both me and you know called Infusionsoft, and they had this Marketer of the Year award. And myself, Che Brown, and all of us, we got invited as Marketers of the Year. And so now there's this whole room, probably of about 175 people, and we're all considered to be the best marketers in the country. And Shay and I had gotten there late because there was a snowstorm, and so our flight got delayed. And so when we finally got there, they were just starting, and we were sitting in the back of the room simply because we were really the last people to get there. And so I'm in the Infusionsoft conference. We're at the Marketers of the Year, and I was feeling real good about myself until there were 174 other Marketers of the Year. And so everybody kept getting up. They were saying, okay, we want everybody to get up and introduce themselves. And so people are getting up. My name is such and such, and I help people make more money with less effort. And the name of my company is this. And then the next person will get up and say, my name is such and such, and I'm a great marketer, and I help people make more money with less effort, and yada, yada, yada. And then the next person got up and they said, my name is such and such. I'm from Arizona, and I help people make more money with less effort. Then the next person got up. And I'm telling you, until you hear 175 people all say that they do the exact same thing that you have been saying that you do, you don't realize how much you sound like everybody else. And so me and Shay were in the last two people to go. Shay was sitting there and he got up and he said, my name is Shay Brown. I'm from Peak Performance Institute, right? And we help people make more money with less effort. I'm telling you, I was sitting there saying, man, I don't care whatever the hell I get up here and say, but I'm telling you, I will not say the words, I help people make more money with less effort, right? Even though that might be what I do. And so I got up, and for the first time ever, I said, we specialize in working with Black entrepreneurs. And we help give those Black entrepreneurs a platform, a place where their voices are heard, where they're no longer underrepresented in the marketplace. And we work with Black entrepreneurs to basically level the playing field in such a way that they can feed their families, so that they can take care of their communities, but more importantly, make an impact in the world. And so my name is Trevor Otts, and we work from the Peak Performance Institute, right? Now, this was the very first time that we ever said that we work with Black entrepreneurs. Now, mind you, we had been open for about 10 years then. 99.999% of our clients were all African Americans, but we never had the courage to really say it. Matter of fact, I can tell you what we used to say. Well, we don't want to just say we work with Black entrepreneurs. We got to say we work with everybody, because we might miss out on other entrepreneurs, never realizing that we weren't getting any business from other entrepreneurs anyway. When I said that, now, I meant to tell you, I forgot to tell you, in this room of entrepreneurs of the year, me and Shay were the only Black people in the whole doggone room. We were, right? We were the only Black people in the room. We were pepper in a sea of salt, as they say. And right after me and Shay went, it took them almost 2 hours to go through all these daggone introductions. We were the last person to go. Afterwards, they took us to break. They said, okay, we're going to take a break because it's been a long time and everybody was just wore out just hearing from everybody else. But right when we went to break, there was a line of people from here to the other side of the room waiting to talk to me and Shay. Now, I can assure you that prior to that, they didn't line up, around the block like it was an Apple store to talk to me and Shay. They lined up because there was something different being said in the room. And interestingly enough, they didn't even really recognize us until we recognized who we were for. And so what I learned is, I want you to write this down. Whatever you do in life, fly your damn flag. Fly your flag. And it reminds me of when we went to Paris and we were at the Louvre, and the Louvre is this famous doggone museum. And you get on the tour bus and you go to the museum. Now, before you get off that tour bus, here's what the bus driver's gonna tell you. Listen, be back at this bus at 4 o'clock. Now, when you go on a tour bus, I'm telling you, you're not back at that bus at 4 o'clock, it's leaving. And so, essentially, before we get off the bus, they tell us, now listen, there are many buses like mine, but there's only one bus for you. There are many buses like mine, but there's only one bus for you. So the way that you know that this is your bus, my bus has this flag. Look for your flag. Look for your flag. Look for your flag. Now, I wasn't really paying all that much attention, but I remembered he said the flag, the flag, the flag. So we go in the museum, we check everything out, we taking our little pictures, we doing the whole tourist thing. When we get ready to leave, there are all these buses out there. All of the buses look exactly the same. They're all white. They all had the same model. And all of a sudden, I remember what the guy said. There are many buses that look like mine, but look for the one with this flag. And it reminded me of something. That in life, there are always people that are looking for you. And there are many people who look like you. But the importance is you got to fly your damn flag. And you have to be apologetic about flying your flag. And so many times before, I kept trying to fly everybody else's flag. This flag is for everybody. but the United States has a flag, and you know that that flag says I'm an American, right? They got a flag for Tobago. They got a flag for Jamaican. You know that if you see the Jamaican flag, it's for Jamaican, right? You know, if you see the American flag, it's for American. And what's happening is when you don't fly your flag, nobody knows that you were for them. And what happens is, you know, it's the rule. Marketing to everybody is the same as marketing to nobody. And then we had that pivotal moment, Andy, and I know you remember this moment, Andy, because you and I, this was like one of those moments off of television, right? And I forgot the movie where Tom Hanks is talking about Bubba shrimp and popcorn shrimp. What's the movie?
Yeah. What?
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. It was the Forrest Gump moment. We were the Peak Performance Institute. And I decided one day we had owned this domain called blackceo.com. We owned the domain 5 years before we ever used it because we didn't really have the courage to follow our brand. And we're going to talk about this disruption moment in just a second. We're going to go there. We're going to get narrow and deep here today. So what happened was I called up one person. I said, hey, I'm about to do this conference called Black CEO, and I would love it if you speak. You know, man, you've been friends for a minute. And they said, well, you know, I don't just market to Black entrepreneurs, so I'm let me just think about that. They in a friendly way, they basically said, hell no, right? So then I called up another person. I'm talking about these are big names. These are, if I said these people's names right now, you'd be like, what? They said, I said, hey, listen, I'm having this conference called Black CEO, blah, blah, blah. Can you speak at my event, my conference, blah, 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 blah. You know, I've spoken to many of yours, you've spoken to mine. Hey, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't want to throw off my other customer base. I'm gonna think about it. I called about 7 people. All of them told me no. I called Andy. Andy was my only yes. Straight up, my only yes.
Hey, but so Trevor, but in all honesty, remember I was like, I said it first. I was like, well, Trevor, you know, because I'm going through my client database. At that time, especially in my speaking career, the majority of my clientele was not African American. You know what I mean? Having gone to speak for those companies like Office Depot, Bacardi, Pratt & Whitney, and Accenture. But I knew what you were standing for, and I knew that there was a need. And even though I tried to put it in my mind a little bit, where I was like a little bit like hesitant, I was like, nah, but this dude right here, he's serious about changing lives. He's serious about transforming people's businesses. And I was like, hey, put me in the game, coach. I'm with y'all.
Yep. And so I got so frustrated that Shay was calling these people. We had a list of like 50 people we were going to call. I just got so frustrated. I just said, Shay, just hang up the phone. And I went to my computer and I put this post as a Black CEO. I'm unapologetic about the cultural distinction, right, that I represent in the marketplace and the contribution that we've made as a people of color to the marketplace. Hashtag I am a Black CEO. I let that post fly. And I basically put, if you're a Black CEO, let us know. In 72 hours, 40,000 people literally reposted this thing, and literally they started saying, send me my Black CEO image, send me my Black CEO image, send me my Black CEO image. And everybody started posting. They took the same words, put their face on it, posted it, and literally 40,000 people in 72 hours. And what it taught me, and it was what Lamar was talking about, it taught me about the power of a movement. So first of all, to have a movement, you got to fly your flag. You got to fly your flag. But then secondarily, right? Because when you win the Olympics, what's the first thing they start doing when they win, Anthony? Fly that flag, right? They flying that flag. When you come to the Olympics, the opening of the Olympics, what are they doing? They flying their flag. They let you know who they represent, who they came to win for. Because when you come into the Olympics, you come to the Olympics to win, not just for yourself. You come to the Olympics to win for your country, to win for the people that you represent. And so when I tell you to fly your flag, it's because you are there to win for somebody else other than yourself. And so that gets us to our formula. We're going to talk a little bit about that today.
But wait a second. I gotta make sure I say this, right? Like, I don't know who else is excited right now about flying your flag, but what we telling you is, like, it's so crazy. Trevor's about to give you like a taste, but you go learn how to take a stand for yourself, whatever your stand is. You're going to learn how to be disruptive. You're going to learn how to be able to fly your flag at Story into Profit Live. Like, that's the thing I want y'all to understand. Like, you got to get in the room. By the way, I want to shout out, because even while you were talking, shout out to Patricia Johnson. Shout out to Patricia Johnson that has secured her spot, is getting in the room. Like, listen, the thing that we know about the Choose Yourself Summit, you about to get excited, right? I told you who we bringing in the room. I told you things were going to be stirred up, but I want to make sure you guys understand that this is only the beginning. You have no idea, like, you already getting gems right now. You have no idea what's going to happen when you get in the room. Make sure you don't mess around. Do not miss out on the early bird ticket pricing, because the early bird is going to go away. And I already know what always happens. You're going to, after the fact, be like, I was at the Choose Yourself Summit, and then you said early bird. And I tried to put in the early bird coupon, and now it doesn't work. What happened? What happened is I told you the code was going to expire. That's what happened. That's what happened, right? So you want to make sure that you secure your spot now and get your discount now. Get in the room now so that you can learn how to be able to fly your flag, my man. All right, Trevor.
Right.
All right.
Fly that flag.
Talk to us.
You know, in that moment, we learned about the power of movement. I'm gonna kind of move through this real fast. So take your pens out, take your notes out. Let's get ready to go. But I learned a very simple formula, and I'm gonna teach it to you. M plus M plus M plus M equals M. M plus M plus M equals M. Write it, type it to the chat. Note takers are money makers. Note takers are action takers. I can always tell who's gonna make money in the room by who got their pen out and who got their fingers on the keyboard. So if you're not a note taker, don't worry, I'm not talking to you. Right? If you're not a note taker, trust me, I'm not talking to you, because I know note takers are money makers. I know note takers are action takers. And what I also know is that M plus M plus M equals M. That is to say that a movement plus a message plus a methodology equals money. That a movement plus a message plus a methodology equals manifestation. Don't worry, we're going to break that whole thing down at the conference. But M plus M plus M equals M. And so Lamar came here and he talked to you about the power of a movement. I was sitting in the back room saying, let me in, coach, let me in. Amen. Because I knew about the power of movement, because Black CEO was a movement. And we're going to talk about at the conference how to build your own movement, how to build a movement that can power your brain. Let me break it down for you. A movement was so powerful that it made a Black man president in the United States, in a country known for racism, in a country that had never elected a Black president ever in life, but he had a movement. You know what the movement was? Yes, we can. And so the power of that movement powered him past all of his other political foes who had lots more experience than he did. It allowed him to master the art of small dollar donations, and it powered him to the presidency, because a movement plus a message plus a methodology equals money. But let's just focus on that movement part, because the movement is the concept of the idea, the concept of the idea, the concept of the idea. I'm saying it over and over again so you can write it. It's the concept of the idea that people rally together around. And see, every brand has to have a movement. That is to say that every brand has to have a concept or an idea, that people rally together around. Black CEO was a movement. It was a concept, an idea that people rally together around. Newsflash, every brand has to have a movement. Newsflash, if you ever see Apple launch a product, iPhone 10, iPhone 12, iPhone 13, they always find a movement, a concept, or an idea that people can rally together around, and they use that to launch the brand. But I'm not done. Every movement, every brand must have a movement. But let's break that thing on down. Every brand must have a movement. Here we go. Every movement must have a moment. Those moments must be disruptive, and it's the disruptive moments within your movement that give it momentum. Let me just say that thing a little slow. Every brand has to have a movement, a concept, an idea that people rally together around. Every movement must have a moment. That moment represents a dispensation of time of heightened relevancy. It means, what are you talking about? What are you saying? What are you doing that's relevant to what I got going on in my life right now? Now is a good time to be relevant in my life. Every movement must have a moment. Those moments must be disruptive. What is disruption? What is disruption? Disruption is challenging the norm. I must be challenging what they normally think. That's the customer. What they normally see. That's the client. What they normally do. That's the customer. I must be willing to challenge what they think, what they say, what they do. That is disruption. But what is disruption? Disruption is being willing to challenge the norm. Everybody is willing to challenge somebody else. But wait till we gotta, as Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror. We gotta challenge what we normally think. How about them words, right? We gotta challenge about challenge what we normally say, because we've been saying the same old thing. We've been saying it the same way as everybody else, right? Matter of fact, next time I hear somebody say, we're gonna turn your passion into profits. I'm tired of hearing passion into profits. Right? The next time I'm gonna turn your pain into profits. You get later for all that. You got to say it in a different way, right? Challenging the norms. You got to challenge what you normally think, what you normally say, what you normally do. You got to be willing not only to challenge what you normally think, what you normally say, what you normally do. You got to be willing to go right at the industry and challenge what they normally think, what they normally say, what they normally do. I was at a big marketers conference. And there was a guy who hit the stage, and maybe you might have heard of him, right? He only has one of the biggest software companies in the country right now. It was a guy by the name of Russell Brunson. He was a nobody at the time. Now, when I said nobody, he was like literally nobody knew who this guy was. In his book, .com Secrets, it's on my bookshelf here. What he talked about was he got on the stage and he said, you know what? All of y'all are here. He talked about the biggest sponsor in the room. The sponsor in the room was Infusionsoft. He says, really, all this funnel stuff, all this stuff that y'all doing, this stuff is confusion. I don't know if this thing is Infusionsoft or Confusionsoft. He literally went up, he found the baddest person in the room and punched him in his face. That's what he talks about in .com Secret. And that moment became the catalyst for what we now know as ClickFunnels, right? And literally in his book, he talks about punching the biggest person in the room in the face, because you got to be willing to challenge what the industry normally thinks, what the industry normally says, what the industry normally does. But here's what I said when it's all said and done. Every movement must have a moment. Those moments must be disruptive, and it's the disruptive moments within your movement that give it momentum. Disruption is the name of the game. I don't care if we're talking about Russell Brunson, Jesus Christ. Hey, for those people, my bibliophiles here, Jesus walked up to the man, right? It was in the pool of Bethesda. So he walked up to the man, the lame man is laying there. Jesus says, hey, kind of what's going on? What's happening? The guy says, hey, what happens is the angel comes down, he stirs up the pool, and the first person who gets in the pool gets healed, right? And so he's telling Jesus the whole story about how the pool works. And then he says, oh yeah, but I have nobody to put me in the pool. So Jesus says, yo, take up your mat and walk. He didn't tell him get in the pool. He didn't tell him do anything. Because when we hear that song that's old, for those of us who go to church, the bad kid in church always know all the songs and the scriptures. That's me out with the bad kid. It says, God's going to trouble the water. Right? Those people who know the song, right? Right? Don't worry. If you don't know the song, don't worry. I forgive you. Right? But anyway, he doesn't tell the guy to get in the water. He tells the guy to take up his mat and walk. Because what Jesus recognized at that moment, it was the water represented disruption, a disruption in your thought, a disruption in your thinking, a disruption in your action. And what you needed to facilitate that transformation, what you needed to facilitate that healing, what you needed to facilitate that change was you needed some disruption in what you were thinking. You needed some disruption in what you believed. You needed some disruption in what you were doing, because every movement must have a moment. Moments must be disruptive, 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 because it's the disruptive moments within your movement that create momentum. And what's happening is you showing up in the state, there is no disruption. What is your POD? What is your point of disruption, right? Disruption is challenging the norm, challenging what they normally think, challenging what they normally say, challenging what they normally do, challenge what you normally think, challenge what you normally say, challenge what you normally do. Take some different actions today. Some of y'all showing up at all the events, still ain't coming to the conference. What? Because you have not challenged your actions, right? Some of y'all listening right now gonna go right back to what you've been doing because you're unwilling to challenge your thinking. Challenge what you normally think. Challenge what you normally say. Challenge what you normally do. Challenge what the industry has been telling you. Listen, you can't be a Black person and not challenge what the industry normally says, thinks, or does in relationship to you. If you don't challenge it, you'll never be successful as a Black person because the industry don't love you. So you got to love yourself. See, that's what this conference is about.
Wait a sec, Trevor. Some of them in the chat like, man, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
We need some water.
Yeah, I need some water. So listen, I told y'all that we were going to be bringing the fire, right? I told you we were going to bring in the fire. But the most important thing is this. I said at the Choose Yourself Summit, we're going to stir something up in you. And here's the thing that I know, that you have to hear from different voices Some of you, I'm able to help you to stir that thing up. From some of you, Lamar Tyler's going to help you to stir that thing up. For some of you, Dr. Lynn helps you to stir that thing up. For some of you, Trevor Otts helps to stir that thing up. For some of you, Alicia Little helps you to stir it up. Star Babatoon helps you to stir it up. But here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to be one of those people who is just consuming. And as Trevor just said, you're like taking the information, and you don't act on it, right? So here's what I want you to do right now. Like if you haven't already done so, you've been getting all these downloads. You are getting all this value. What I want you to understand, this is just the tip of the iceberg. All we doing right now is pulling forth the greatness that's inside of you and getting you to see what happens when we choose ourselves. What you are witnessing right now is you are seeing absolute passion when somebody is inside and fully operating in their purpose. And some of you, it's been a little while since you've been able to spark that thing inside of you, and you need to be in a different environment for this to happen. So I do want to say this before, because I'm going to have Trevor just share with us real quickly, like what do we have to look forward to during Story in the Prophet Live? But what I want you to do right now, like if you have not already done so, matter of fact, do me a favor. Let's do this real quickly. Do me a favor before I get back to Trevor here. If you already got your ticket, do me a favor down in the chat, put I got my ticket, I got my ticket, I got my ticket, right? If you already got your ticket, put down in the chat, put I got my ticket, right? Because we want to encourage those people. So Dione, I see you. Mario Lynn, I see you. Teresa, I see you. Toby, I see you. Denise, I see you. Irene, I see you. Pastor Darlene, I see you. Virginia, I see you. Carla, I see you.
Whoop, whoop.
Zoom, I see you. Sharon,
They got it. They got it.
right? All the people that got their tickets, all right. Gigi got their ticket. Coach Sheila got my ticket, right? All those people, right? I hot on my ticket, right? Yeah, Patricia, yeah, I just shouted you out not too long ago. Bryant, have my tickets, plural, more than one ticket. Gonna go so I could get my ticket later. What you mean later, Charlie? Charlie, did you just use the word later? Charlie must not know how we roll. We don't late, Charlie, there is no such thing as later.
There's no later.
There is no later. Charlie, look, you don't get around these type of people and use the word later. If, should, later, interested, we're like allergic. All right. He said, I mean, all right, good, Charlie. Like, right. So here's the beautiful thing. Make sure right now you use the thing, take advantage of the early bird ticket. Use the early bird coupon code so that you can go ahead and secure your spot for Story into Profit Live, right? Make sure you secure your spot for Story into Profit Live. Trevor, I want to ask you something, man. You are infamous with being able to just sort of listen to the struggles that people are having and then giving them an idea that they would have probably never thought of themselves, that creates absolute shift in their business. What allows a person to tap into that ability to think outside of the box and be so disruptive? Like what, like, because we're like, you were just sharing with us and we could see how you talked about this disruptive moment where you leaned into this disruption. But for the person who's used to following status quo, they're used to sort of doing what everybody else is doing. How do you tap into that mindset of just thinking out of the box and not doing what everybody else is doing in a world where everything is sort of cookie cutter and everything is sort of like copying what everybody else is doing?
You know, interesting enough, I call it traffic theory, right? And when you think about traffic theory, I live in Washington, D.C., and we have a lot of traffic. And I'm like, why the hell do we have so much traffic? Powerful people asking powerful questions. And the reason why traffic exists is because you got everybody going to the same place at the same time using the same route. And so what happens is everybody's going to the same place work, right? They go in there to get there at the same time, right? They trying to get there to start their 9 to 5, so they got to get there by 9, right? And they're all taking the same route, 90, I-95, right? And that's traffic. And so one day I said, you know what? I'm not doing this. When everybody else is going one direction, I'm going exactly the other, right? Because I don't want to get caught up in traffic. And sometimes we try to say things the same way that everybody else is saying it. We're trying to do things the same way that everybody else is doing it, right? We're trying to get to the same place. And what happens is we create a traffic jam. There's a traffic jam with our message. That's why we don't stand out. Everybody's saying make 7 figures, say make 7 figures. So when I get on the stage, I'm gonna say make 7 figures, make 7 figures. Everybody's getting on the stage that says buy my coaching, buy my coaching, buy my coaching. So I'm gonna get on the stage and say buy my coaching, buy my coaching, buy my coaching, right? And we all trying to get there at the same time. Gotta do it now, gotta do it now, gotta do it now. Traffic jam. And so literally when I walk into places, what I do is I look for the direction that everybody is going, every speaker is going, every coach is going, every trainer is going. I pay attention to what direction they're going, and I go exactly the opposite direction. And when I go in that opposite direction, it automatically creates a point of disruption, right? And so I like what Denise said. She said, that's right, get out of the traffic jam. You don't have to go the same direction to get to the same place. You don't have to go at the same time, right? If you really don't want to get caught in traffic, go to work at 10 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock, right? So you got to choose a different way to get there. Otherwise, you get caught in the traffic jam. And so literally, the second thing I would tell you about your brand, stop trying to get cute. Stop trying to get cute. Here's what I tell you. All success in life is based upon spiritual principles. For those people who are listening, then I'm going to tell you why you need to buy a ticket and why you need to get that ticket yesterday. It's because embedded in the name of everything is its purpose. Embedded in the name of everything is its purpose. If you name something outside of its purpose, you will first cause that thing to be misunderstood. And then as a result of that thing being misunderstood, it will be misused. And so a lot of times we got to stop naming things outside of its purpose. One time I was in our Mission Barbecue. I think that was me and you, and you might have been there too, because you might have flown in. We was at Mission Barbecue, and I had gotten this this shredded chicken, and it kind of scooped it up and put it on some toast, and it looked kind of like, yeah, who eats this? But the girl was like, no. See, we give you the naked chicken so you can choose your own sauce. I said, oh, okay, we gotta have our own sauce. I'm gonna get some sauce. And I saw like hot and spicy, sweet and sassy, Texas barbecue. I saw all these different kinds. But I said, I was thinking about the hot and spicy, but I was like, nah, I'm too old to be having heartburn. I ain't doing that. I'm gonna go ahead and do the sweet and sassy. I put the sweet and sassy on my chicken, and when I tasted it, it burnt my mouth. It was red hot. You know what happened? Somebody mislabeled the bottle. And because embedded in the name of everything is its purpose. But if you name something outside of its purpose, you will first cause that thing to be misunderstood. And then second, you'll cause that thing to be misused. And what's happening in relationship to how you name your products, your services, your brands, and all the stuff that you're doing, your confidence and your retreat, you are naming them outside of purposes. So people are misunderstanding it, and thus they misuse it, or they don't use it at all because they never understood how to use your gift, your skills, your talent. That's what Tracy was talking to you about. And so you got to be in this place, because for many of you, your brand is stuck, right? Your career is stuck. Your success is stuck, and you need that breakthrough. That breakthrough, you need the disruption. That breakthrough, you need a movement. That breakthrough, you got to start believing in some things. You got to master your story. You got to master that narrative. And so that's the reason why you got to be there. And here's what I'll leave you guys in closing. I want you to write this down. I want you to holler. Matter of fact, write this in all caps. If you got your keyboard out, put the caps on your keyboard right now. Here's what I want to tell you. You are coming there. You are coming to the conference to get a return on finish. You are not there to return on your investment. Andy, can you bring up the slide with the prices real quick? Because I just want to make a point real quick, right? Yes. If you just bring that up from, they don't need to see my face. They just need to hear these words. Because there's a very important distinction that I'm going to make right now that is going to change the very course of your life. I'm going to change your life here in this moment, right? Most of you are making this argument that is out of alignment with your purpose. And I'm going to get you in alignment. I'm going to bring your actions in alignment with purpose. And here's what it says. You see the early bird ticket, it's $8.97, but if you get it early bird, it's $6.97. You see the VIP ticket, it's $14.97.
It goes, and then Trevor, it goes down even more. Because remember, right now, because they're taking action here, they're getting the early bird coupon. So it's going to take that silver ticket from $6.97 to $4.97. And it's going to take that VIP ticket from $12.97. You ready for this, Trevor? All the way down to $6.97. It's taking
yeah.
down, and it's taking the platinum ticket down by $900.
Man, what's that platinum ticket? What's it bringing it down to?
The platinum ticket is $2,997. It will bring it down to $2,100. It takes $900 off that platinum ticket.
Wow. So so just take us down to $2,000, right? So literally, you $497, $697, or $2,000. And what you're saying to yourself, well, am I going to get a return on an investment? Am I going to get a return on my $497? Am I going to get a return on my $697? Am I going to get a return on my $2,000? But I'm telling you, right, you are thinking incorrectly. You need a disruption in thinking. We need to stir up the water. It's time for you to start to have that pool of Bethesda moment. I'm going to tell you to take up your mat and start walking, right? Because you got to walk into the success that you seek. You are not seeking a return on investment. What you are seeking is a ROF. You don't need a ROI. You need a ROF. I want everybody under the sound of my voice. There's not a single person that is omitted from this instruction. You are to type into the chat or write on your paper or shout it out loud if you can't do it. Right? Write ROF. If you can't write it, shout it. ROF. Heck, if it's me, I do it both. You are here to get a return on finish. I'm about to teach you something. Get ready. Here's what return on finish says. It says that it is impossible. It is impossible. It is impossible for anything that I finish to return unto me void. It is impossible for anything that I finish to return unto me void. But everything that I leave unfinished, everything that I leave unfinished as it pertains to my purpose will return unto me as a deficit. Here's what I came to tell you, that the end result of finishing something is abundance. By definition, abundance is more than enough. The end result of leaving something unfinished is a deficit. The definition of a deficit is not enough, right? And so when you finish something, there will always be abundance. And see, let me help somebody out. Some of y'all, you're experiencing right now frustration. You're experiencing overwhelm. You feel burned out, right? You've been to the conference, you coach burned out. You job burned out. You relationship burned out. You burned out. You want to know why? Because you serving out of unfinished spaces. And when you serve out of unfinished spaces, there is a deficit. The end result of leaving something unfinished is a deficit. And if you serve out of your unfinished spaces, nothing that you do will ever be enough. If you serve out of your unfinished spaces, nothing that you do will ever be enough. Right? So that's why you struggle in your business. That's why your bank account doesn't reflect how good you are. That's why your relationship is on the right, because you serving out of unfinished spaces, right? You got to finish something. I'm not telling you to buy a ticket because you're going to spend $497 and tomorrow you're going to make $15,000. No, I'm telling you, you're going to not get a return on investment. I'm telling you, you're going to get a return on finish. You're not here in this moment to hear my voice, to see my pretty face. You're here in this moment because there's something in your life right now that God needs you to finish. Now, you might not want me to say God, you might not want to hear that, but there is something in this moment that you are here to finish. And here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask for a moment of transparency of everybody in the room. Every single person in this room, every single person that's watching this replay. If you're watching this right now, I want you to answer this question for me. I want you to, if powerful people ask powerful questions, because questions steer focus. And in your life and in your business, you only get what you focus on. So we got to ask the powerful question. First question is, are you powerful? Yes or yes? Let's put that into the chat. Are you powerful? Yes or yes? And if you are powerful, I need you to answer the question. What are you here to finish? What are you here to finish? Because I'm not here to get you a return on your investment. You want somebody to say, hey, put down $497. I'm gonna show you how to make $10,997. You want to make 7 figures? Yeah, that's fine. They're lying. They cannot promise that. You're not here to get an ROI. Everybody put in here, I'm here for my ROF. It is impossible for anything that I finish to return unto me void. And what I know is that everything that I finish, right, will return unto me in abundance, right? It's impossible for anything that you finish to return unto you void, but everything that you leave unfinished as it pertains to your purpose, it will return unto you as a deficit. You think you coming to the conference because we want to sell you a ticket? Listen, you coming to the conference because there's something you got to finish. You coming to the conference because today is the last day where you serve out of unfinished spaces. Today is the day where you start to serve your purpose because there's some things that you finish. You can't serve out of something you can't finish. You know what? Think about somebody trying to serve you some uncooked chicken at the wedding. Sometimes I hate going to weddings because when they bring in the caterers, the food is half cooked, right? Because nobody wants to eat your half-cooked food, your half-cooked purpose, your half-cooked life, and the half-cooked or the half-done things that you've done. You have got to finish something. We are talking about an ROF. Here is my guarantee. See, people are like, oh, I guarantee you're going to get a return. No. Here's my guarantee. Here's the big bold guarantee. Here's Andy's big bold guarantee. Here's the story into profit, big bold guarantee that every single person that steps into that room, right, that finishes their purpose, that finishes what they are there to do, I guarantee abundance. I guarantee abundance. I guarantee abundance, meaning that everything that you finish, it will produce more than enough for anything that you need. Here's what I'll say in closing, Andy. Love kind of thinking about the spirituality of things. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is Jesus feeding the multitude. Most of us interpret it as he took one fish and multiplied the fish. But really, that's not what it says. What it really says is he fed the multitude. He fed the multitude. He served them out of his abundance. He served them out of some things that he finished. Jesus is on the cross. What is his last words? It is done. It is finished, right? And that single moment, it saves the world, right? Because what is it that he did? He finished something. And so I don't care whether we're talking about Jesus Christ, whether we're talking about Oprah Winfrey. I don't care if we're talking about Andy Henriquez or all of the different people that I see in the room, all of my finishers. Some people call him Jesus the Christ. I call him Jesus the finisher, right? And what I want to do is for all of my people in the room, let me just look in the chat real quick. See, it's not Angie Johnson, it's Angie the finisher Johnson, right? It's not Greg A, it's Greg the finisher.
Yes.
I want everybody to embrace their new name. I want everybody to step into their new name. I want everybody to step into their purpose. I want everybody to step into their power. I want you to step into your abundance. I want you to put your name there. So if your name is Alicia Brooks, your name is now Alicia the finisher Brooks. I want to see everybody's new name there. Now, when you show up in the conference and you introduce yourself to me, don't introduce yourself as Andy Henriquez. You introduce yourself as Andy the finisher Henriquez. And when you introduce yourself to everybody, you introduce yourself with your finisher name. And then you tell them. And then you tell them, because we're going to all be there together. You tell them what you're there to finish. Because we are a community of finishers at Story in the Profit. We are a community of finishers at Master Storytellers Academy. We are a community of finishers. Our movement is to finish something. What are you here to finish? Because we coming to help you finish that. That's why you come to the Story into Profits Conference, because you coming there to finish. And this moment when you're getting your ticket, this is your commitment to finish. Commit to finish. Get the ticket, get there, be in the place, finish something in your life. Back over to you, Andy.
So there's two things I want y'all to do right now. Two things I want you to do. Number one, if you haven't already done so, right? You've been with us and we still got more fire for you. We got Alicia Little, the queen of AI, and we got Star Babatoon, right? Like, man, this is bananas. I knew that the Choose Yourself Summer was gonna be crazy. I knew it was gonna be off the charts, but I didn't realize we was gonna bring this much fire right now, right? So two things I want you to do. Number one, my team is dropping the link. If you haven't already done so, I know the majority of you have, but if you happen to be some of the few people that have not already done so, go ahead and secure your spot now for Story into Profit Live. I want you to take advantage of the early bird. I do not want this to be another time that you showed up and you were just a consumer. In other words, you're just listening to what we're saying, and then you go right back to your same environment, doing the same things you were doing before and getting the same results, right? Somebody said nothing changes until something changes. And at some point, you got to go from basically ideation and just consumption to taking action, right? And so there's two things I want you to do. Number one, I want you to secure your spot for Story into Profit Live. And then number two, I want you to put down in the chat, when you come to Story into Profit Live, based upon what Trevor just shared, I want to know, what are you coming to finish? What is it that you have left incomplete in your life that you are wanting to finish? That you know that you could finish it, but you just knew that you needed to get the right strategies, that you needed to get the right guidance, that you needed to get around other people who believed in your vision. Like recently we just did an event with our $1 Million Storyteller Mastermind, and it was so infectious. They didn't want to leave. And on day 3, one of the things that I was telling them, I said, listen, here's the thing. As much as we have loved being with each other, and the reason why you feel like you can finish anything right now in your life, the reason why you feel like you can win I said, look at the environment we created over the last 3 days. Look at who's around you right now. Like, this is not a hard environment to win in when you get into strategies, the techniques, when you got the right people around you. And what happens to so many of us is we come to events like this, and then we go right back to the same environment. You got to make a decision. And the decision is to get in the room. So I want you to do 2 things. Number 1 is you make sure you secure your ticket. Then the other thing is put for me in the chat, what are you coming to finish? What are you coming to finish? Trevor Otts broke that down. And Trevor, we need to talk about that again. We need to talk about that again, because I can't wait for that book to drop, because I know you in the process of releasing the book, Return on Finish. Like, we need to come back to that again, because I feel like there's so many people that have unclaimed receipts, man. You know, there's this thing in Florida, it's called unclaimed property, Trevor, and there's like a website you have to go to and you put in your information. And typically what happens is there's a check waiting for somebody. There's something waiting for them and they just haven't claimed it yet. And the reason why they haven't claimed it is because they didn't finish what they started. And so, like, I just got so excited, man, when you were talking about this return on finish, and I'm looking forward to seeing the people who return on finish. So once again, if y'all could do me a favor, right now, I want you to put it down in the chat. What was one of your biggest takeaways from Trevor? Put it down in the chat, right? Somebody said, trust the journey. You already won. I'm coming to build on the vision and finish the assignment. That's right, Patricia. That's what I'm talking. Use my story to share my products and services. That's where you're coming to finish, right? All right. Someone said, Sarah said, disrupt the norm. Fly my flag. Ooh, that was so good. Whatever it is that you got. And Trevor told that story going on that trip, right? Flying that flag. Did you see how he told that story, though? Do you see how that story is going to make you remember it? There's a lot of things. Trevor gave you formulas together, but you would not forget about flying that flag. I tell you that. You would not forget that, with or without your notes. You will remember that. You will remember the importance of flying your flag. And so let me tell you something. We are so excited, Trevor. Man, we are so excited. I can't wait to blaze the stage at Story into Profit Live. I know what's going to happen as a result of you being in the room, Dr. Tracy Lynn being in the room, Star Babatoon being in the room, Alicia Little being in the room. Like, the magic that is going to happen as a result of all the people being in the room. And the only question is will all of you be in the room? Let's give some love to Trevor Otts. Let's give some love to Trevor Otts. And we are going to make sure that we continue and finish strong here. I'm super excited. My man, Trevor, we appreciate
check that, Andy.
Hey, I got to make sure the stage is still here, man. You blew up the stage, man.
Oh, no, Alicia Little was coming, man. Alicia Little was coming. But check out what's happening in the chat. People are going into their Zoom. They're going into their Zoom names. I think everybody should do it, Andy. If you're not in the Zoom, you can change your name. And what they're doing is changing their name. Literally, I had to do mine, Trevor the Finisher Otts, right?
Yes,
and so everybody change their name to the Finisher, right?
Change your name. Change your name. Change your name. Change your name.
But you know why they're changing their name, Andy?
It is time.
Because they're embedding their purpose in their name. Embedded in the name of everything is his purpose. So embed into your name your purpose. Your purpose is to finish. Let's finish this thing, Andy. Let's do it.
Hey, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Once again, remember, you're going to use the coupon code Early Bird, all one word, right? I say it like that so that it's easy for you to remember. Early Bird, all one word. My team drops the link right after that. It's going to take you over to the site. You're going to put yes, turn my story into profit. Then it's going to drop you down to the prices. These are the prices, but because you showed up for the Choose Yourself Summit, you're also getting an additional coupon code, right? Where you're going to take these early bird ticket prices and you're going to get them for even less, right? Which is why you want to go ahead and secure your spot now. When you use the coupon code Early Bird, it'll take your silver ticket and bring it down an additional $200 to $497. When you use the Early Bird coupon code for the VIP ticket, it's going to go ahead and bring your ticket down by an additional $600 from $1297 to $697. And then also when you use it for the platinum ticket, it's going to take it from $29.97 to $21.97, right? So we're super, super excited. Man, once again, can we go ahead and drop some love for my man Trevor Otts that blazed the stage. My man Trevor Otts blazed the stage.